In my part, I will cover the abduction from outside of UAE to the UAE. Practically, we saw many cases where we could succeed in returning children who have been abducted to the UAE. But there is no one solution to be handled in every case. Since we have already 3 laws, the federal law for Muslims, and we have for non-Muslims 2 laws, one applied in the 6 Emirates, and one local law for non-Muslim applies in the Emirates of Abu Dhabi. Since, as agreed, since UAE is not part of the Hague Convention, we will have to find a solution under the applicable laws and to get this solution applied in each case. So let's assume that we have a case where the child got abducted from out of UAE to the UAE, and the mother could get a judgment, or the father could get a judgment to return the child back from the foreign country to the UAE. First question we have to ask ourselves, can we apply this order here or not? And to apply the foreign order, we will have to consider if there is a treaty or not. If there is a treaty for recognition of the foreign judgments, it would be much easier. But as everyone knows, we don't have treaty with single treaty with every and each single country all over the world. So sometimes we cannot apply the foreign judgment due to the lack of treaty. Recently, UAE accepted the recognition of the English court orders on basis of equal treatment principle. However, we don't have the same concept applied with all other countries. And even if we will apply the foreign judgments in the UAE, we still have a lot of challenges which has to be considered. Since application of the foreign judgments is subject to a specific requirement which has to be fulfilled. One of the requirements that UAE shall not have the exclusive jurisdiction to deal with the case. The other point which we have to make sure that it exists, that the UAE courts, that the foreign courts has jurisdiction to deal with the case, and the respondent has been notified in the foreign courts and has been given enough chance to present himself, and that the judgment itself is a final judgment, and this foreign judgment did not contradict any local judgment issued by the local courts. The other option we might take is in case the child got abducted from out of UAE to the UAE, and then before getting the child abducted, the father or the mother signed undertaking to return the child back. In these cases, even if there is judgment from the foreign court, if it does not fulfill the requirement as per the local laws, then we cannot enforce the foreign judgment to return the child back. So we have to start from the beginning. We have to use the undertaking, we have to apply for order to return the child back to his home country. Such order could be submitted by 2 options, whether to apply it on urgent matter basis, and the other option which we may try, we may apply on a substantive claim, which might take quite longer time, using the undertaking to enforce the husband to execute what he promised to do. In case the child got abducted in the UAE, one of the options that we might approach the urgent matter courts, requesting from them to return the child back on urgent matter basis, since we have a potential risk on the child's safety or the child welfare. The judge here will have to check according to the evidence submitted. Do we have any urgency basis to take the case accepted on urgent basis? Number 1. Number 2, if the urgency existed, is it real risk affect on the child's best interest? And if the judge believes that there is urgency and the child's best interest has been seriously affected, then we may have a chance to get the decision and approval in returning back the child. In case the child got abducted, but we don't have a foreign judgment, or we have it but we cannot enforce it, and we don't have even undertaking to be used against the husband, in this case we'll have to file a new case to return the child back. Usually, when we file the case, we apply for custody court order and relocation of the child back, or returning the child back to the place where the child got abducted. First part is the easiest part, to get the custody judgment, but the biggest challenge we face here is returning back the child. Because according to the laws applied for Muslims, the father is the guardian and the child should be with the father in the same country where the father is. In such type of cases, usually we might recommend the client to apply the foreign law. UAE laws give the parties the right to apply the foreign laws. The law of place of concluding the marriage for a Muslim, and the law of your home country if you are non-Muslim. However, applying the foreign law itself has challenges. For example, if one of the parties is dual citizen, according to Article 24 of UAE civil law, you cannot apply the foreign law if one of the parties is dual citizen. So this option might not work in such scenario. we have under the new law the concept of joint custody, joint physical and legal custody. And if we apply this concept in new cases, we may argue, since now the mother has right to maintain the child with her as a half custodian and half guardian, or legal custodian, I would say, since she has the right to be with the child in the same country with equal rights like the father, we may, in similar scenarios in the future, apply the new law without the need to apply the foreign law, and using the new law to get the child back on the basis of equal rights between parties, and on the basis that one of the parties decided to breach the obligations and right under the existing law, and took the child from the primary address to the UAE without the consent of the other joint physical and legal custody.
For more of our latest updates, like and subscribe to this channel.